there and welcome to Beauty Talk. If you didn't know me already, my name is Linda and I love everything about skincare, makeup and beauty. And today I wanted to share with you 8 tips for healthy and shiny hair. So I have an aunt who has over 50 years experience being a hairdresser, but also I have another cousin who is also a wonderful hairdresser, and together with their advice and my own research and own experience, I have gathered a few tips that I want to share with you. So if you're interested in seeing what are those tips, please keep on watching. But before, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That will mean the world to me. That's going to help my channel be seen by more people, and so my community can keep on growing. And also don't forget to like my video so that I know you like this type of content, and also follow me on Instagram, because there I share another, more beauty tips, but also you can see a little bit of my personal life. I also have a TikTok, and it's the same as my Instagram. So now let's get into it. Like I mentioned, I have an auntie who has over 50 years experience being a hairdresser, and I also have another cousin here in the UK who is a wonderful hairdresser as well. So I've been asking them a few questions just to get substantial information to provide you with, good tips, and not just go and find some random stuff that's on the internet. But also together with my own research and my own experience, I have put together these 8 tips, which if you really enjoy it, then I can turn it into a series and, later on develop a part 2, part 3, and so on. But these are just like 8 basic tips so that you can preserve your hair and keep it healthy and shiny. So one of the first tips that I have is to use good products. So I made this, I made a few questions to my aunt, and this was one of her first tips, was to use good hair products. And then I asked her whether there was any difference between the drugstore, supermarket hair products compared to professional hair products. And she said yes, that there was, and that professional hair products were better because they were more concentrated. Now, I'm not a chemical formulator, so I can't really say whether this is absolutely true or not. However, it does kind of make sense that although cheaper products could have the same ingredients as professional products, perhaps they're not as concentrated as professional products, and therefore they're not as potent. So this is something that makes sense to me, and that is why professional products seem to be a lot more efficient. I will not lie, ever since I started using like better or professional hair care products, I have really noticed a difference. My hair just feels a lot more nicer than when I was using something that, cheapest thing that I would find in the supermarket. And I've noticed a huge difference in that my hair is a lot shinier, a lot stronger, but also less frizzy. But I also know that you don't really need to spend a fortune to get good products, because yes, maybe even in the drugstore it might be difficult to find decent shampoo and conditioner, but there is still, and especially it's also just going to depend on what are your needs, because they will do a good cleaning of your hair, they will do good conditioning of your hair as well. However, maybe not as effective as professional ones will do. But again, it will depend on your needs. But it doesn't have to be the most expensive either. So if, for instance, you would like to invest in something, and obviously, it can be very expensive if you want to buy a whole set of hair care products, the shampoo, conditioner, treatments, and whatnot. So if you wanted to invest in one good product for your hair care, I would had a little interruption, and I had to go for a little coffee break. And I think that's what's making my teeth yellow. So I was talking about buying good hair products. So that was the advice that my aunt had for me, is to invest in good hair care products. So definitely, I don't think you need to buy the most expensive hair care products. However, I was seeing a video of, again, I've mentioned him before, he's a YouTuber. He has a hair salon and hair school, something like that, in Florida, Miami. I'm not sure, but if I can, I'll link his video below, where he talks about more professional hair care, but not necessarily more expensive, but professional hair care products versus those that you buy, the cheap ones that you buy in the supermarket. And he says that at the end of the day, they are not much cheaper than the professional ones, and he compares the prices, and he says that usually the cheaper ones, you need to use more product, so you get through it much faster than what you have to when the professional one, you use much less. And actually, I have to say this is very true, because I have from Kerastase my shampoo, and I have to use the teeniest amount of shampoo, and it does the most beautiful lather and really leaves my hair clean. It's much more expensive, but I definitely need to use much less of the product, so it does really work really well. However, if your shampoo and conditioner that you bought from the drugstore, you are happy with it, you think it does a good job, but you still want to improve your hair care routine, and you want to incorporate a good quality product, I would say, I forgot to put the microphone in, so hopefully that other bit is fine. So I was saying that instead of investing in a more expensive shampoo and conditioner, which is, you know, good if you can, but if you prefer not to, I would say invest in a treatment product rather than shampoo and conditioner, because the shampoo and conditioner, you're going to rinse it off. Meanwhile, the treatment product is going to stay in your hair. It's going to do all the heavy duty work, if you wish. So for instance, any serum, any leave-in conditioner, oils, heat protectants, those kind of products, I would invest a little bit more, because they are going to do the true job of protecting, nourishing, and giving your hair shine. So for instance, I have a few products here that I can share with you. I have these two of Kerastase. So this one is more of a reparative treatment. So it's for very, very damaged hair. My hair is not very, very damaged. However, I do use a little bit of this, and it has made a huge difference in terms of really preventing any damage to my hair. I'm much less split ends, and it just works really well. I really love this product. And then I also have their hair oil, which you can, I think it's the World Cup today, the last day, the final, Argentina versus France, and I think Argentina just scored because my husband was clapping and being all excited. Anyway, let's continue. So I have this oil from Kerastase, and look how big this bottle is. I have it for over a year now, and it's only now here. It will last you a really long time, because you don't need to use too much. So you have to use very, very little of it, because it's very, very strong. And if you use too much of it, it's going to weigh your hair down. You're not meant to use too much oil anyway. So this is a very nice hair oil, which you can use it in several ways. So for me, it is really worth it buying this kind of products. This, instead of buying a more expensive shampoo and conditioner, I think I would definitely invest in something like this, or my last or most recent purchase from Kerastase, which is their thermal protectant, this one from their range, Genesis. All the products I mentioned, I will list them down below. But still, I'm telling you this, but I want you to take it a little bit with a grain of salt, because what works for me may not work for you. And remember that my hair type may be a little bit different than yours as well. And also because these are the products I have tested. I haven't tested so many others, but so far the ones I've tested from Kerastase, which is a professional range, I have really enjoyed. Another thing before we move on to the next tips, I just want to point out that I do not color my hair. I have nothing against people coloring their hair. I just don't feel the need to do that. I'm pretty satisfied with my hair color. I do have some gray starting to come up. Maybe when my hair gets, you know, grayer and it just looks really weird, then I will start to color my hair. But at the moment, I don't do that, and I keep my heat styling to twice a week. So I don't really do too much heat styling. I don't really have that much damage. And so I just do use these kind of products to, you know, preserve my hair the best I can. the best I can. All right, let's go into the second tip, which is to double cleanse your hair. So I don't know if you've noticed, but every time you go to the hair salon and you're gonna go, you know, trim your hair or whatever treatment you're gonna have in your hair, and they wash your hair and you notice that your hair stays cleaner for longer, and that is because they do a double shampoo. So essentially just wash your hair twice, and that is what's really going to make a difference in keeping your hair, you know, cleaner for longer and really getting rid of all the dirt, the grime, and the oil and, you know, product buildup. That for me is something that I've incorporated, and ever since I've incorporated, I have truly noticed a difference. I have very oily scalp, and I also use dry shampoo, so I have very oily scalp, and I have, you know, product buildup and stuff like that. And when I do a double cleanse, I have noticed a huge difference. My hair stays cleaner for longer and stays just like, even with like a little bit more volume than if I don't. And for this, you can use your same shampoo, so just your regular shampoo, but make sure you use it twice. And a very important tip here is to make sure that your hair is really wet, really soaked and wet before you use your shampoo. Otherwise, it's just not going to foam, it's just not going to do its job properly. It needs to be in contact with water. And another thing to do is also take your shampoo and make sure you emulsify it really well in your hands before you put it on your hair. And that's going to do is going to, you know, make a little bit more, it's going to emulsify it, it's going to make a little bit more foam, and when you put it on your hair, it's going to spread better, and therefore your product's just going to work a lot better. Give it a try and let me know if you do. Let me know in the comments if it worked for you, because for me it's made a huge difference when I started doing that. Tip number 3 is to use a heat protectant when you heat style your hair, and the finishing product to further protect your hair but also to hold the style. So one of the things that has also, you know, made a huge difference in my hair is actually using a heat protectant. I like curling my hair every time I basically wash my hair. I wash my hair about twice a week, and every time I wash my hair and dry it with the blow dryer, and then I style it with the curling tong. So I've been doing this for many years, but I've noticed a huge difference once I incorporated a heat protectant. And actually, I remember many years ago that I was staying at my cousin's house, who is a wonderful hairdresser here in the UK, and hi Lourdes, if you're watching. I asked her that, you know, if it was okay to use the flat ironing. I remember she had this flat iron where she used to use to curl her hair. So I like that, and I asked her if it was okay to use the flat iron every day, if it wasn't damaging for the hair, and she said it was absolutely fine as long that you would use a heat protectant. And actually the product she recommended me is this one from Tresemme, which I still use, and I think it's a really great one. It's very economical, and it actually really works. So after I started doing that, I realized that I had much less split ends and much less breakage on my hair in general. So it's really worth using a heat protectant. It's one of the products that is going to make a huge difference. Another one that I recently got is this one from Genesis, from Hairstyles, from their Genesis range, which I just mentioned. This one is also really nice. And equally, after using the heat protectant and styling my hair with my curling tong, I like to use a finishing product, which is one of the ones that I have mentioned before. Either one of these I can use, or sometimes I mix a drop of this with a drop of this, and then I will use that to finish my hairstyle so that it can hold, and it can make sure that the ends are, you know, protected and sealed from, you know, all the environmental stressors, but also so that it stays nice and nourished and nice and shiny as well. So tip number 4 is to brush your hair every day. It sounds very boring, you've probably heard a lot of this, but it is very important. When you brush your hair, this can be beneficial in several ways. And firstly, it's going to, you know, you brush your hair, you're going to keep your hair free from tangles. But also you're going to kind of remove a little bit of the excess oil that you have in your hair, and at the same time distribute it to where the hair needs those oils. Hope that makes sense. And also, not to mention that when you're brushing your hair, it just feels really nice on the scalp. It's nice and soothing, and that can be really helpful in terms of stimulating blood flow and circulation in your scalp. I also like to brush my hair upside down, which apparently can be beneficial in terms of revitalizing your hair. But I also do this mostly because I like how it gives me a lot more volume in my hair. And an important thing to bear in mind when brushing your hair is always to start from the ends and then make your way up. This is because you don't want to get, your hair. If you start from the top, it's gonna get caught with the knots, and you can actually break your hair. So you want to prevent the breakage. If you break your hair, it's just gonna weaken it more. So make sure you incorporate this tip in terms of being gentle with your hair, and that is going to, you're gonna see a lot of benefits by doing that. Another tip, this was actually my aunt who gave me this tip, is that you must protect your hair from the sun. I thought, I didn't really see much of the point until I looked into it, and it turns out that this sun exposure can actually be very damaging to the hair. It can damage it just the same way as it can damage our skin, or it can be as damaging as bleaching your hair. And this is because the sun breaks down the protein structure and weakens our hair. Therefore, your hair is going to be more prone to breakage, split ends, and it's just going to be dry and frizzy and absolutely lack shine. So all hair types can actually suffer from damage from the sun. However, apparently from what I looked in, people that have lighter and finer hair are more prone to suffer from damage from the sun, and this is because there's not enough pigment and they're really thin. So there's not enough pigment and they're quite thin to kind of like protect themselves from the damaging effects of the sun. However, all color hair and all color hair, fine, coarse, curly, can suffer from damage from the sun. So the same way we protect our skin from the sun, we should also do the same. We protect our skin using sunscreen, protective clothing. We avoid sun exposure by staying in the shade. It's the same thing we can do with our hair. We can use a hat, we can use a scarf, or we can use a sun protective product, especially for the hair, to protect it from the sun, and especially during the summer. And if, for instance, I'm just checking my notes here, if you're someone that likes to go swimming, then remember to use a protective hat, those hats that will prevent the water from getting to your hair, or put your hair up in a bun to prevent it from getting wet. But if you do get your hair wet from going swimming, make sure you wash your hair and condition it properly to prevent any damage from those chemicals that are used in the pool to preserve it. Tip number 6 is to have a healthy diet and lifestyle, because just like our skin, it will be affected by our diet, our lifestyle, and our health. So things like having a poor diet, exposure to pollution, the weather, not taking good care of our hair, being sick or suffering from a disease, or if you have some sort of vitamin or mineral deficiency, all these things can have a big impact in the quality and health of your hair. So when it comes to vitamins, I think it's very important to determine together with your doctor if you are deficient in a certain vitamin or mineral, instead of going on and taking these multivitamins or these vitamins that are for growing your hair or keeping it healthy or whatnot. It's very important to determine first if you actually have a need. Otherwise, these kind of vitamins can be, more harmful than good for you. So very important to take that before spending money on something that you don't know if you actually need. And in this sense, I would just say that just like everything else, just our skin, if you have a good, healthy, balanced diet and you exercise and you use good good hair products, I think your hair should be very nice and healthy and shiny. Tip number 7 is to trim your hair every 3 months. This is actually according to my aunt, who is the hairstylist, hairdresser. She said that, you know, she advised, in order to keep your hair healthy, to trim every 3 months. However, I completely disagree with this. I don't think I need to trim my hair every 3 months, because then my hair will never grow. However, if you are someone that has a lot of breakage at the ends, you know, you do want to go and trim your hair. Otherwise, there's, you know, it's just gonna not look very good. I think that if you are taking good care of your hair and you are protecting the ends, especially the ends, because this is, you know, the oldest part of your hair, and it is also the most vulnerable part of your hair. If you're protecting this area very well, and then it's less likely that you will need to have a hair trim. I think that for me, I can do maybe a hair trim twice a year, and that's enough. And unfortunately, after the pandemic, I think I've gotten a few haircuts after the pandemic, and I just gave the hairstylists way too much freedom, and they've cut too much. And I mean, it's not short, but I do want my hair a little bit, longer. So yeah, I don't want to be cutting my hair or trimming it anytime soon. And my last tip for hair care is to prevent or avoid any damaging hairstyle. So these are these kind of hairstyles where you're wearing a very tight ponytail or tight hair bun, anything like, or tight braids, anything that is very tight on your hair should be avoided. I mean, not to do it, you don't have to not do it ever, but avoid it if you want to prevent breakage and damage to your hair. Because what happens is that when you're using these very tight hairstyles, what you're doing is there's creating like a tension between your hair scalp and the hair, which is going to lead to weakening your hair, and then, you know, leading to breakage and whatnot. And if you're wearing these hairstyles very, very, very often, it can actually weaken your hair to the point where it can lead to a disease called traction alopecia. When there, you will start losing hair, and it might not grow back, if depending on the severity of your case. So definitely, I think it's something to take very seriously, to avoid using these kind of hairstyles. Instead, use a clip, or use a clip, you know, do these more looser hairstyles where there's less tension in your hair, and you'll be better. You will be better off. So these are a few of the tips that I have for you today, and I wanted to finish off this year just giving you a little something. So it's not a very in-depth video, but it's just a few little tips that I think can be very helpful for you. And let me know if I missed anything. But maybe I can turn this into a series where I can, you know, bring you more tips in the future for healthy hair and shiny hair. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a really great New Year's Eve and great holiday season. If you watched all the way until the end, I want you to know that I really appreciate it, and it makes me so happy to have this community that is quickly growing. I'm so happy. I've got, I don't know how many followers at this point. I think it's 240, I think, the last time I looked. But it's growing, and I'm really, really excited. So thank you so much for staying with me, and I hope you have a great holiday season, great New Year's Eve, and I wish you all the best. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!